In this video, let's talk about the week 2 experiment, right? So in week 1, we have already created accounts. We have created the accounts and we have explored the regions, zones, and what are the services, how does the platform looks like. We have seen this already in week 1. Now, in week 2, we are going to talk about identity and security services. What is this? In DBMS, right, in database management, you might have done some lab experiment. Okay, I'll give a simple example. There is a database. In database, I can have multiple tables. Okay, so there is table 1 which contains sensitive information like username, passwords of all the other users who are using this database. Okay, table 2 contains some customer information. Table 1 contains sensitive data. Okay, it contains some sensitive data, right? So the admin, the database administrator, DBA, we say, if you are very good at database, you can apply for this DBA role. It has huge demand in the industry. Only database you should know fully end to end. Okay, so the database administrator creates roles and grants the permissions to certain users. Okay, so for a database there could be multiple users. We whole 115 students can access this database, right? The database administrator gives some access. It means table 1 cannot be accessed by these people. Table 1 can be accessed only by the database administrator. That is the condition. Okay, and there are so many tables like this, T3, T4, T5, T6 and so on. Tables are there. They contain some sensitive information, some useful information, some main tables are there. Let's say I am working on a project, it handles about customer complaints. So the actual data, the actual original complaint data, what I have with me, it is, let's say it is in table 3. Always we are having one copy of that original complaint request. It is in table 3. So for small developers, for junior developers or for newly joined employees, they don't give access to this T3 table because it is a main table. So the database administrator controls that. He grants you access or he revokes your permission based on some certain conditions. So few tables only DBA can access, few tables only the project manager can access, few tables only team lead can access, and there are some tables which anybody can access and play with. Okay, why we are doing this? Because there is some important information. If I give it to a junior developer, if I give to a new fellow, he might delete something by mistake, the data is lost. So to have that security, to have that security aspect so that we don't lose the information and the data is not leaked to anybody else, they do this kind of, they create roles, they create groups also. Right? There is a concept of groups. I do not know whether you have studied this in database or not. We can create group. Let's say development group. Okay, let me talk about groups here. So we can have groups. Okay, development group. There are roll number, let's say 3, 7, 21, 49 and 52. These are developers. So for these fellows, I will give access to table T2, T3 and T7. I will map them into a group. I will say group G1, they can access these 3 tables. So these are group 1 tables. Okay, so like this we will have different groups. For let's say testing team is there. For testing team we will create another group G2 which contains table T2, T3, T8 and T9, let's say. So they can access only these tables. They cannot access, see T7 they cannot access, because T7 is only for developers, not for the testing team. Like this, what we are doing, why we are doing this? We are doing this to have some proper security mechanism, right? In the same way, like this is done in database, in the same way we have lot of security and identity services in cloud platform. Okay, it is different for AWS and also it is different for Azure. In AWS we call it as identity and access management, whereas in Azure we call it as Azure Active Directory. What is this? Let me talk about AWS here. Right? In AWS, see, I create an account. Okay, After that, I log in into that. After login, I can access, I can see all services, right? I can see all the services, but now I can access only a few. I can access only a few. So identity and access management, this IAM service, what it does, let's say S3 bucket is there. What is S3 bucket? We have not yet explored, but I am just giving an example. In S3 bucket, we can store any kind of data, right? So you have login, you have created login. Let's say roll number one has created account in AWS and he has login and he has loaded some data into S3 bucket. Can this roll number 5 access this S3 bucket? Let's say roll number 1 has loaded one employee.xml file or CSV file. Can roll number 5 access this or not? Right? So those kind of privileges. So when you are loading emp.xml, you have to give some security permissions that can be given using this IAM tool. So you can make it public, you can make it private. So when you make it private, only these people, only you can access, or you can give it to somebody else also. You can give their roll number and say only these people can access. If you make it public, anybody who logins into this S3 bucket, in your S3 bucket, from his account, he will be able to see that emp.xml, right? So we are restricting somebody to access, or we are giving permission to somebody to access that. That can be achieved using this identity and access management. Okay, so that is coming only after login. Okay, that permission thing we are talking about only after login. I mean to say, account creation is easy. Creating account, we are not having any restrictions. Any mode you can create account. After you enter, then we talk about identity and access management. Whereas in Azure, we call it as Azure Active Directory. Here it is different. What we are doing, before login itself, we are putting security restriction. I mean to say, when you are creating account, during login process only you will see different roles, which role you are trying to log in. So if you are using developer role, if you are choosing admin role, if you are choosing user role, after you log in into developer role, if you log in into that, you will see only certain services. You cannot access other services. If you are choosing admin role and login, you can see only certain services, you cannot see other services. Same way for user. So we are restricting them before login itself. What kind of services are they going to see or explore? Okay, this you have to verify when you are creating account in Azure, or you see what you are choosing by default, only those kind of services you can access. In AWS it is not like that. In AWS what is happening, anybody can log in account, but after login we manually are giving some permissions. We are restricting the services. Okay, even after login we are not restricting directly. We have to do some manual task there. What is that? I gave no example of S3 bucket. In S3 bucket, I will create a bucket underscore MCA. In this, I want to load the answer sheets. This answer sheet, who all can access? Answer sheet 1, answer sheet 2. This answer sheet, who all can access? Like this, individually you can give permission. It is that low level. Okay, whereas in Azure, it is at the admin level, top level. After you log in, there is no security part in this. Once you are given developer role, you log in into that. Once you are given admin role, you log in into that, or else you go to the user, you will see only those kind of services, but not after login we don't have these problems, right? So this is what you have to explore. So in tomorrow's lab, AWS people have to go search for IAM, see what is the service, simply create some load some data into S3 and see how you are giving permissions for that particular data, how you can control it, who all can access it, who all cannot access it. The fully you have to access this, because going forward, when you are touching any of the AWS services, you will be talking about IAM there. Same way in Azure, when you are creating account, you have to make sure which role you are choosing. According to that, there are differences in the services. So you can try all three, log in them and see. Choose AWS, choose development and see what all you can see. Choose admin, what all you can see, right? What all you can access across everything. Okay, so this is for week 2. For both of them, it is different. You have to explore your own particular services, write down in the notebook and learn, understand them, go read from internet, ask GPT, use any AI tool, try to understand what is that service, what it does, and you have to implement that for the coming weeks, right? So this is about week 2 experiment, explore identity and security services in cloud platform. Thank you.